Hi everyone, and thanks for being with me. I've got a few things to talk about today, but hopefully won't take up too much of your time. But the first thing I want to do is say that there's been lots of criticisms about my post in relation to We Hate Them, and I've had some interesting comments, and I'm going to share all of those with you in just a moment. But before I do, I have an issue which accompanies all of this and the stuff that I've been talking about in relation to do we want a Donald Trump, Elon Musk type thing in Australia. As a result of that, Clive Palmer has now stepped into the fray and has decided that he's going to start a political party, which name I still don't understand, and I haven't quite got any clarity over that, but it's got something to do with Trump Parrot or something or other. But it was introduced to us today on afternoon briefing with PK, and I'm just going to play a little bit of that, and then I'm going to talk about another issue, which is the number of comments that I've had in relation to "We hate you" comment. So I'm fascinated on both of these fronts because I want to see to what extent people think that a Clive Palmer is going to be helpful at the next federal election. So let's just play that clip, just a brief clip from afternoon briefing, and then I'll talk about it when it finishes.
A name he mispronounced as the trumpet of parrots went down in Canberra today. Now, the mining magnate made it clear that the party would adopt many of the policies of US President Donald Trump. Here's a sample.
The party believes in the policies of Donald Trump, which has shown to be effective in bringing management back on track. Peter Dutton has stated that he's no Donald Trump, and we agree with him. Albanese's presided over a declining standard of living for our country in each and every year he served as Prime Minister. Australia needs Trump policies. Australians want them, as the opinion polls have shown us and will show you in the coming days, right? We don't need to be welcomed to our own country. We respect all Australians, but we don't need to be individually acknowledged by people that we don't know and have never met. We need to respect all people who made Australia what it is today, a wonderful country. That includes the contribution made by people from every nation in the world. All Australians are equal under the Southern Cross. Trumpet of Patriots will make Australia great again.
Subtle.
So there you have it. Trumpet of Patriots. How friggin' ridiculous do you think this is going to get? Clive Palmer at the last election spent $150 million and elected one person for the Senate. Now, I don't know where Palmer's getting his information from, but it is quite clear from some evidence that I displayed to you in my latest post that Australians aren't all that in favour of a Trump-type administration. But Palmer sees an opportunity to make Australia great again, apparently, and because we are clearly a decaying nation, according to clowns like Clive Palmer, and certainly, according to the feeds that I've got on my in the comments section on my YouTube channel, which I'd like to think, even though if you don't like me, please subscribe. I don't care. Someone actually commented on my channel that one of the things that they stated that I'm being paid for this. Well, actually, I'm not. I haven't made any money whatsoever. So I don't know where that idea comes from. However, the concept is that if you actually watch my videos, that, a few cents might trickle my way. So if anybody's ever going to pay me, it will be Google or YouTube, and it will be because you've watched my videos, you idiot. So nevertheless, there have been some interesting comments made. Now, what I really want to talk about is this, is that are we ready for a Trump-type administration, for an Elon Musk to step in and do all the things that Elon Musk has done in the US? So the question really we need to be asking is, firstly, can it happen? Is it possible? Well, it isn't possible. Not in our country, not under the Westminster system. It's just not possible for it to happen. So whatever Clive Palmer thinks are the policies that are Trump that have value in this country will not work. We certainly can have, and I've said this before, it makes sense to ensure that whatever public money is being spent, that it's spent wisely and that it is not being used for nefarious means. So, and I agree with that. I think every government should be mindful of that and so on. But there is no evidence apart from a few things like robo-debt and a few other things like KPMG and the accounting firms that the government has employed, and also contracting to organisations, and we have doubts as to whether they're effective. And we have oversight committees for that, I hasten to add. But nevertheless, and there are lots of other things that we could be looking at, defence, for example, the amount of money we spend there, the amount of money we spend on AUKUS, and are we ever going to get delivered to us whatever it is we're paying for? And does Donald Trump care about that? Probably not. Doesn't even know where Australia sits on the map. So there's lots of things that actually could be challenged and could be different. But do you need Elon Musk to step in? Don't do that. No, you don't. You need a good, responsible government, which is whatever we've got, which we tend to get whether we've got Liberal or Labor. I must confess, under most circumstances, they tend to be reasonable, unless you're Scott Morrison and you choose to take on 5 secret ministerials. So that is it. But people get really pissed off with me because I made a comment about not liking Donald Trump and Elon Musk. And there are people on my site that have kind of, to some extent, got their knickers in a knot. And I find it fascinating. So it started off with this particular one, which is the most recent one I have. It only happened 5 hours ago. How dare you speak on my behalf, you ignorant little man? So clearly they can tell how big or small I am by me sitting in this chair. But obviously I'm a little man. I love and respect both Trump and Elon for what they are doing for the world. What have you done? Well, I don't know. That is an interesting and puzzling question. As a social worker running a political party, endeavouring to make the world better for kids and for families whose kids have been removed, there's probably not much that I have done. But my question back to you is, what in the hell have you done? You silly, ignorant little bastard. Your focus groups must be residing in Canberra. And then, so now at 54, white, born and bred since the Third Fleet. Good for you. Good for you. So this person here is part of the colonial team, which has come to Australia, which most of us white people are. And Elon, not to mention JD, but then, can't spell, you're being paid to say this, right? No one's paying me to say this, you clown. So speak for yourself. So true for me, someone says he speaks on behalf of the woke only. What's this idiot? Projection, it's not true. So from Perth, so I love this guy. Now this guy in particular, I think, would love Donald Trump. He's from Perth, probably interested in mining. Most people in Perth are. And I'm a massive fan of both. So this is Australian talking to us about what they believe. This new administration is exactly what the world needs, and it's fascinating watching it all come about. Yes, it is fascinating. I won't deny that. Never have I seen a shake-up in politics like this in my whole life, and neither have I. In fact, I agree with both of those statements. As to whether they're good for the country is a different issue, or the best, or I don't know. Jackie Lambie has the Jews backs. I see those anti-Semitic comment. You're an idiot. People I know wish we had a Trump and an Elon. Albo is an idiot too. Good, okay. Whoever paddle boatman is, I'm just going to tell you straight out, mate, you're a friggin' clown. And that's just some of the comments that I get. If you want to have a laugh and you want to have some fun, have a look at the comments. And if you want to be a dick, please put as many comments as you like, because to be honest, I'm fascinated by them. Because the people that I know, which maybe it's not all that many, but there's enough of them, they're trying to think about the world as a little differently, and they sort of see these things that are happening in relation to United States and the destruction of the administration or destruction of government, which is happening in the US, is something which concerns us all, because as we're finding out, it's starting to impact us. Look what it's doing in Europe, for Christ's sake. And it is a realignment of forces around the world so that we can actually have a look at the impact the United States has had, the good and the bad, and get rid of the bad and get rid of this reliance upon the United States to help us in whatever it is that we're doing, whether it's maintaining borders, whether it's in providing aid, whether it's in other soft power that they might have, and whether it's in negotiating peace in certain parts of the world. But it is evident that Donald Trump is going to sell out Ukraine to Putin, that he's going to wind up lifting all the restrictions that have been placed over on Putin and his oligarchs, and they're going to run riot around the world, and that at the end of the day, we're going to find that Russia might decide that Poland's a nice little piece of land. I'd like to be able to take that over for a little bit just to see what happens. And then once I've walked through Poland, perhaps I could find another couple of countries like Yugoslavia, perhaps, and some of the, I'll just work my way through until I can chop off a little bit more land, become the imperialist nation that actually that the Russians want to be. So let's wait and see. And as I've often said before, there are warning signs. At the moment, we haven't quite seen the repercussions as a result of what Trump and Elon Musk and the merry young men are doing within the administration, and whether that really will impact us. It certainly will impact Americans and is starting to impact them. Heaven forbid what's going to happen in relation to avian flu and measles and other diseases that will happen will simply get denied by JFK Jr. So let's wait and see what happens. It's going to be fun. But the point is, and this is my point all along, is that even though it is kind of entertaining, which it is, many people will lose their lives. Many people. I'm just going to cite one example for you all. So in Africa, around Mozambique, the place that also has got Gaza, incidentally, but not the Gaza that's next to Israel. But in Mozambique, 1/3 of the population has HIV/AIDS. Babies are often born in Mozambique with HIV. And it is likely that most of those babies will die before they're 1. Now, in Mozambique, USAID had placed organisations and clinics that give parents the appropriate medication in order to be able to manage their AIDS, so that they can safely have children, so that those children can lead a relatively healthy life, but all of that's gone. And they estimate that because they've taken away these services, around 100,000 children will die. Now, those clowns who get on to my comment section, who criticise me for the things that I say, I want you to think about this. Is it worthwhile taking away a service such as that and allowing children to die? Now, I appreciate that for many of you racists, they are black people and they live in a different country, and so therefore we perhaps shouldn't be interested in them or concerned about them in any way, shape or form. In my view, we should be. This is a connected world in which we live, and if we are not able to take control over some of these issues, such as Ebola, for example, in parts of Africa, then there's a good chance that will find its way to Western countries as well, and then havoc will run loose, and we have an administration in the United States that just does not know how to manage that. And the rest of the world, like they did with Wuhan, the rest of the world will wind up blaming the United States for their inactivity when they already had people on the ground that could have dealt with those issues but chose not to because they're an ignorant group of bastards. So let's wait and see. As I say, it can be fun. But as I also say, it's fraught with danger because people will die as a result of some of these decisions. Not only will people die, but some of the red states who rely on US aid in order to be able to distribute their grain and other agricultural issues can't do that at the moment, and they're going to suffer. Right? The tariffs are just going to hurt everybody. But you guys that give me these comments, Someone's got here, Trump for Australia, make Australia great again. Well, when were we not great? I don't even understand what that particular comment means. We don't have the same issues. So to be able to define Australia based on the way the Americans want to see America is blinking insulting. Why do we want to be like America, for Christ's sake? In fact, if anything, in my view, we need to pull further and further away from the bastards because they're heading to a place which none of us really want to go. Or it's unsafe for us to go, at least. So, and so someone says, you mean just the lefties, Australians dislike Trump? Well, maybe so. So there's a whole host of really interesting comments here. I'm a bit obsessed with reading them, I must confess, because I think that they need to be focused on. But nevertheless, Clive Palmer sees an opportunity in Australia because he's got some data that I don't know about, which says that starting a party called the Trump Patriot Party, or whatever he calls it, is something that's going to take off. Well, I want to tell you, Clive, and also the Liberal Party in particular, the only people that will be persuaded to vote for you are right-wing nuts who appear on my comment page. Now, if those crazy people want to vote for you, because otherwise they'll be voting for the Liberal Party, they're certainly not going to vote Labor, and they're certainly not going to vote Green, and they're unlikely to vote Teal. So those dudes will choose to vote for Clive. Now, as they do so, because Clive's not going to win any seats, he'll be lucky to win one seat. He'll spend hundreds of millions. Well, actually, he'll be limited. He's limited now because of the latest legislation in terms of what can be contributed to funds for elections. But he will endeavour to influence, I guess, those people on the right, the idiots that appear on my comment page. And I just need to add, not all those people are idiots. I've got some really nice comments as well on my comment page, and I do thank you for those. But there will be a number of people who will vote for him as opposed to voting for the Liberal Party. And as they do that, what they don't realise is that will then allow Labor seats, Greens or Teals to take that vote. We have a different system here, preferential representation in the lower house, proportional in the upper house. So there's a good chance that you will take votes away from the Liberal Party and those votes will go to Labor, Greens or Teals at the end of the day. So do your best, Clive. You are handing the Labor Party a win, depending on the number of people on the right who choose to support your crazy ideas. And finally, we don't know what the policies are that Clive's talking about. No introduction of them, no idea as to what they are. It's just pie in the sky stuff. And most of the stuff that he would wish to implement in relation to the US is not possible in Australia because of our Westminster system. So go for it, buddy. Enjoy it. Have a good time. See what happens, because I can guarantee you that it won't be good for the Liberals. But it might be a good ego boost for you, Clive. Now, remember to subscribe to my channel, ring the bell for notifications, make as many insulting comments as you like, because I rather enjoy them. And I'll catch you next time. Remember, in the meantime, take care, look after yourselves, ignore Clive Palmer, and be safe.